At the age of 43,
43,
Andrew retired from his 9-to-5 at Ford Motor through a combined effort of savings and stock market investments. Although, on the day when he graduated college, he didn't have a penny to his name.
he didn't have a
Andrew
penny to his
graduated
name.
from the University of Michigan, Dearborn, at the age of 23. Like his father, he majored in mechanical engineering. He had landed a job at General Motors before even graduating, which everyone in his family applauded him for. Still, secretly Andrew asked himself, what's the big deal? Andrew had always felt like he wanted something different than his peers expected from life. During the first weeks at General Motors, if anything, this feeling was strengthened. Andrew met up with his supervisor, James, who had been with the company long enough to earn himself a golden watch. James seemed proud of his watch, but Andrew couldn't help but think, wow, he's still in the same place, doing the same thing as he did when he was my age. It seemed James spent his days doing what he had to do, not what he wanted to do. Andrew recognized this because, during lunch, all James was talking about was wild boar hunting, not improvements of the assembly line at General Motors. Andrew had seen a similar pattern in his father, who loved going on hikes yet could only do so once every month due to his busy working schedule. Ironically, making money seemed like it was costing them too much. This video will show you 3 stages that Andrew went through to reach financial independence. You will see that different things are important at different stages, but please note one thing right from the get-go. If Andrew hadn't been investing, had he tried to reach his magic number of $1 million by only relying on his engineering paycheck, he would have shared this tale at the age of 57 instead of 43. By investing, Andrew earned 14 years of the most significant currency in life, time. You will learn what Andrew focused on as a stock market investor, what he focused on outside the world of investing, and, perhaps most importantly, what he didn't do. This is the Swedish Investor, bringing you the best tips and tools for reaching financial freedom through stock market investing. This is really the getting started stage. Many of you have perhaps already reached this stage and beyond, and in that case, well done. Sit tight though. We will soon be at your current stage. During a day at the library, Andrew had been asked to pick up 1984 for his mother who was stuck in quarantine. He stumbled over a copy of The Richest Man in Babylon. Yes, literally stumbled. While eyeing a cute red-headed clerk, he didn't watch his step, and he scattered books all over the floor. The backside of The Richest Man in Babylon read, "An assured road to happiness and prosperity." Maybe this was just what he needed. Andrew borrowed the book. The red-headed clerk was still giggling at his clumsiness. How embarrassing. She was even more adorable up this close. Andrew hoped he would meet her again. Pay yourself first. The book advocated that Andrew should pay himself 10% of his salary each month before doing anything else with his money. Clearly, this was what his supervisor James was missing. He didn't pay himself first. He paid Sitka, Knife-Force, and American Airlines first. The more Andrew got to know James, he realized that James didn't pay himself at all. Not that there was anything wrong with that. It just didn't seem like a good recipe to become independent from one's paycheck. All we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to us. Now, this is the exact right thing to do during the first stage, pay yourself first. The stock market is an excellent vehicle for making a decent chunk of money into a massive chunk of money. However, it is not ideal for enlarging only a tiny piece of money. This early on your road to financial freedom, you should deal with the stock market as you would with a Swedish smorgasbord. Have some eggs, a few meatballs, maybe some herring. You can't theorize your way to what a meatball tastes like. You need to eat one. It's similar with stock market investments. If someone suggests you should invest without real money, on some simulator or something, tell them do your best to steer clear of the fermented fish though. Andrew learned this the hard way. After reading The Richest Man in Babylon, he went on to Robert Kiyosaki's book Rich Dad Poor Dad. He was pretty disappointed that he didn't bump into the cute redhead at the library, but at least he learned that the stock market is an excellent place where savings can be converted into assets. Without any former investing experience, though, he soon found himself reading speculative tips on various biotech companies on Reddit. It started off very well, with high initial returns. $5,000 became $10,000 in just a week. But before long, he experienced what could be expected of this approach. The little capital he had rapidly declined by 60%. The fermented fish for Andrew was unprofitable nanobiotech companies. He had just fallen off the peak of Mount Stupid into the Valley of Despair on the Dunning-Kruger curve. Although Andrew knew nothing about Warren Buffett yet, he had learned Buffett's most important rule, to never lose money. Actually, he had been so lucky that he learned Buffett's second most important rule too, to never forget rule number 1. Even though the losses were staggering, percentage-wise, they were tolerable in terms of dollars. Andrew replaced his losses within 2 months thanks to his salary. Unlike a colleague at work, who had gone all in on a recently created crypto and in that, had an entire can of fermented fish, at least Andrew wasn't out of the game. But he realized that the stakes would rise as his savings accumulated and that mistakes would become increasingly expensive. Therefore, Andrew decided to become a learning machine. Each time he had a meal at home, he would put up his favorite financial YouTubers on the screen. Each time he went for a walk, he would put on his favorite podcasts. Slowly but surely, Andrew was moving out of the depths of the valley of despair. Andrew managed to go from $0 to $20,000 in almost exactly 2 years by saving $1,000 from his paycheck each month, working as a junior engineer at General Motors. Losing something like $2,000 by investing in unprofitable nanobiotech companies, and losing $1,000 in brokerage commissions. Yes, Andrew was trading a lot in the beginning. Andrew can't be accused of having been a great stock picker this early on, so it was really the savings that carried him the whole way. This time, you hear $12,000. Even though $12,000 was just a little less than what Andrew could save from his salary in a year, it stung a bit that he hadn't been more aggressive. $500? Weak. He tried to repeat a Warren Buffett mantra to himself. Half of all coin flippers will win their first toss. None of those winners has an expectation of profit if he continues to play the game. Because how could Stephen have known? He had never shown any particular interest in technology or anything meta before. Andrew didn't show signs of frugality in his purchases, nor a hint of frugality in his outings. He's not saying an expensive lifestyle is wrong, but make sure you understand the opportunity cost of your decisions. Once you open the gate of your stock market account and let a chunk of money out of it, will you be able to close it again? Do not underestimate the power of habits. One part of Andrew, perhaps his prefrontal cortex, ignored these rather extravagant lifestyles of his peers and wanted him to stay true to his own goal. Andrew, remember James, you're not Lamborghini. Recognize that you are also witnessing someone who is a Lamborghini per. So, is it worth it? Andrew liked the video for the YouTube algorithm, a true role model for us all. An unexpected event was going to help Andrew in an unexpected way. Right before he was about to turn 31, the stock market crashed. The S&P 500 fell by more than 50% over the course of the year. Technically, this meant that Andrew was back at stage 2 again as he was now below $100,000. But Andrew didn't fret. He had been through this before. He resisted the temptation to cash out and instead bought shares of exceptional companies that pessimists were trying to get rid of as fast as possible. While he usually made something north of 8% per year in the markets, he made 30% and 45%, respectively, in the 2 years following the crash. Then, when Andrew turned 33, many things happened at once. His portfolio was now contributing more towards his savings each year than his salary was, still with some occasional dips. And it paid off. Andrew was slowly but surely becoming an investor who beat the market by some margin each year. An overperformance of 4% per year suddenly meant something like $25,000 more in his pocket than the average investor with the same amount of capital would have been able to get. The hourly wage from studying stock market companies was now really lucrative, and it just kept improving. Towards the end of this phase, Andrew also started thinking about his half-forgotten passion for photography. At 35, Andrew switched from General Motors to Ford Motor as he was offered a 20% higher salary for the same hours of work. Even with this higher salary, his portfolio returns vastly exceeded his pay during some months during this period. Other months, he could be down by $20,000, making him feel discouraged. This is the period where your patience and perseverance as an intelligent investor will be tested the most. The additional deposits you make will not immediately affect your returns, but Andrew continued contributing as much as he could. In a few years, the snow started falling, and the snowball gained its own speed. What Andrew didn't know was that he was about to lose almost 40% of his wealth just 2 years later. Conclusion: the path to $1 million. Even with this setback, Andrew remained steadfast. He didn't let momentary downturns discourage him. Instead, he saw it as an opportunity to buy shares of solid companies at discounted prices. Over time, his smart choices began to pay off. At 40, Andrew finally reached the $1 million mark. He looked back on his journey and reflected on the lessons learned. Persistence and continuous learning. Andrew kept his determination and turned every challenge into a learning opportunity. He became a continuous student of the financial markets. Financial discipline. By following sound principles of personal finance, such as paying himself first and avoiding unnecessary debts, Andrew built a solid financial foundation. Solid investments. Through experiences, mistakes, and successes, Andrew learned the importance of investing in solid companies and resisting the temptations of risky speculations. Continuous assessment. Even when reaching significant milestones, Andrew continued to assess his finances, adjust his investment strategy, and maintain a clear view of his financial goals. Balancing financial and personal life. Andrew realized that money was a tool to achieve his life goals. He now enjoys a balanced life, spending more time on his passions and with his family, while continuing to refine his investment skills. Andrew's story is an inspiration for all those seeking financial independence. His path to $1 million was not free of challenges, but his smart and resilient approach led him to financial success. If you want to delve deeper into the world of investments, I will leave a link in the description. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and thank you for your attention.